Thank you, Teresa. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andra from organization Keep the Change in Latvia. Welcome to this webinar, the final webinar of many great ones. I will also send the message, the link of YouTube in the chat so that you have access right now to all of these previous webinars. And I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, who is an amazing woman, amazing youth worker, business person, and also a good friend of mine. And she agreed to do this webinar together with me. Mostly she'll be doing the talking, and we will be here to listen and to support. And if you have some questions in the chat, feel free to ask them, and we'll do our best to answer them. But for now, I give the floor to Gvantsa, and she will talk about amazing things today, and hopefully you will get some new ideas, inspiration, and some maybe something more. So enjoy today's webinar.
Hello, you can hear me, right? So good day to everybody. I'm Gvantsa, and I was invited by the Andra to this webinar. And it was very inspiring when I heard that there is this full series of 11 youth goals webinars. And today, basically, we will going to talk about one of the youth goals and then all the things, informations or processes or how we can handle it, how we can work on it, and see what can inspire us in the end. A little bit to share about myself. I will also tell about with the presentation. Maybe I start opening the presentation and will be much easier to see. Just confirm with me that you can see what I'm sharing.
Yep, we can see it.
Yeah, as I mentioned, this webinar is one of the 11 youth goals, which is like youth organizations and European programs. And to tell a little bit of myself, I'm Gvantsa. I work as a trainer, facilitator, and youth workers already, as a youth worker already last 15 years, I would say, proudly. So, and especially the last few years, also as a certified and awarded as a best youth worker in Georgia, in different regions. As I don't know if I mentioned, but to mention, I'm from Georgia, working in Georgia as well. I run the youth organization Creative Youth Platform, and run youth centers and youth initiatives and youth activities here as well. Together with the Georgian organization, I also collaborate a lot of international organizations. One is also Andras Keep the Change, which we collaborate since, I think, the establishment of our organizations many years, and having very good friendship. I also work as a trainer for different networks, which can be like Youth Network Partnership Trainers Pool. I'm also a member of International Youth Work Trainers Guild, if you don't know, and if you are a trainer who works international youth projects, you can also check it out and join us. It's a brilliant place to be for trainers to support each other and exchange and co-create. At the same time, a few years ago, I started together with my team, definitely, we started to establish the startup related to the non-formal education. Basically, it's called Ado Academy, and basically it will going to be the platform, digital platform for professional development of youth workers, trainers, and facilitators, which can help them to develop the key competencies you need to deliver the programs or create and evaluate the programs. It's in a process of developing. Andra is also one of the co-creator of Ado Academy, one of the founder of the Ado Academy, and we are in a process of developing and working on it. Hopefully soon you will have a chance to enjoy full of resources, mentorships, and support and materials and learning process there. Here is the QR code I wanted to share with you, also with our Georgian organization. Now, later on, if you will have any questions more, feel free to ask. Now let's focus, as we don't have much time, let's focus on the webinar and the topic we want to talk about. And shortly to tell you with the three main parts, how can make, because like we want to make this webinar more like how we can make young people more active, more involved, and how we can support youth organizations or using youth organizations to help young people in youth initiatives, encourage rural youth to be more active in the processes. What can be the international or local opportunities that can be used in these directions, and how the young people can be active in a decision-making processes or different activities related to them. Yeah. So basically today we will have understand the key EU programs. This is what we will try to work. We don't have time to go for details for many of them, but I will try to later on share the resources, and maybe Andra can even send you these presentations, this presentation which has a links in it, so you can go in different portals and read more. And there is many information online which can help you to, and many opportunities which can help you to start today, basically. Yeah, we will also talk during this webinar identifying the obstacles youth and organizations face, as I already mentioned, and maybe share a little bit of some strategies of inclusion, visibility, and innovation, how we can make it in this process. I will try to change. Yeah. Now, what I wanted to ask is that I wanted to ask, like, you have emojis in your Zoom, right? I want to ask you, like, how familiar are you with youth programs? And based on the answers, choose the emoji, which emoji represents your experience in the different youth programs. Not necessarily that we know all. I don't know all of them. I didn't work all of them, but at least you know very well know one or two program, how to navigate, how to work, how to manage. Yeah? Oh, brilliant. I see hearts. I see thumbs ups. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. More people wants to show? You can also write it on the chat if you feel like any emoji. Yeah. To move on, I will remove the screen to the app. A question we ask many times question we ask many times to ourselves as a youth organizations or youth workers, or like why youth participation matters in the process. Yeah. For us, the answer is it matters because youth actions, youth activities are all about them, one thing, and around them, they are the center of the process. And another thing is that they are part of the big part of the community, actually, and they also are the ones who are going to benefit or maybe be affected by the different decision makings or different activities and so on. So them as the active members of the society, their voice and their thoughts and their influence matters throughout the process. Yeah. What we'll talk also like a little bit of roadmap to see here throughout this webinar for yourself as well, like to also talk about reaching marginalized youth, expanding opportunities, also talk about a little bit of how formal education and non-formal education can collaborate and actually work on filling up the gaps which are the between of these educational types, yes? And how to empower organizations. Now let's begin a little bit, yeah, for the related to the topics. So we will go for visibility information. One of the first topic I thought when I was thinking about this webinar was about visibility information and what are the barriers related to this. And one of the barriers is that even though there is a lot of campaigns happening, there is a lot of projects happening, there is a lot of outreach happening, yeah, there is still a lot of young people who are not aware about the opportunities Erasmus offers. Yeah, even though today when we go for different villages or different towns or rural areas and so on, Sometimes people are even surprised, oh, it's a massive program, it's a lot of visibility online and so on. But still, there is many young people who are not aware. Can be because of the digital not accessible, doesn't have access for the digital tools or digital internet, for example, yeah, or have a language barriers maybe, yes, or are more like as isolated areas, living in more isolated areas, can be high mountain regions and so on. And there are still, even though sometimes people living in the cities, but have in a very fewer opportunities they have. They are in a very marginalized reality, and that they don't even know that these programs and these opportunities exist. A second part is information often technical or scattered. What we mean about the technical? Sometimes we as organizations or process creators forget that there are some terminologies we speak and we perfectly understand, but young people has no idea because it's our professional terminologies, and in a casually explaining processes, we use this, and then young people look at us like, oh, what she is talking about, huh? Or what this person is talking about. And sometimes we miss this very little point, which can actually help us really make young people to understand what we mean, why we want them to be involved in the processes and so on. So this is one of the things to adapt also, like the posts during the social media campaigns or meetings with young people, like we forget these small details. I already talked about marginalized youth, rural minorities, disabled face additional information barriers as well. There are most of the time, a lot of times there are informations available in certain ways, but sometimes people with specific some barriers doesn't have access. So this is also one of the things that we as a people who work with young people or organizations, we should keep in mind to make it more accessible. To move on, if you have questions, also like try to put it in a WhatsApp chat, not WhatsApp chat, sorry, the call chat. And in the end, we will also have the opportunity to ask questions and discuss maybe more deeply for a certain part. Visibility and information. I was also thinking about the solutions based on our experience as well, and based on the partners, like from the 45 different partners all around the EU and neighboring partner countries we work with. Like what are the good examples and what are the visibility solutions or information solutions these people has achieved throughout their practices and our practices as well. One of the things I already said, using social media, short videos, infographics, explain opportunities, and especially nowadays when the technology is so advanced and we have AI and we can actually co-create them very catchy shorts, videos, or different infographics or visuals and make it more attractive for young people, can be much easier and helpful to like take it under the considerations what can be that we, for example, specific terminologies and so on, and avoid those things and make it more attractive with the young people. Centralized, youth-friendly platform, not really website, but like some countries, some organizations use it. Website, also European level, there are certain platforms, certain web pages, which should be up to the dates and have a guidelines. Sometimes it happens that there are platforms, but it's very complicated, so it's very hard to navigate. Not very user-friendly, let's say. Yeah, so it's very important to keep it in mind that these platforms are user-friendly for young people. Yeah, so it's easy to navigate for them so they understand what is there. Use ambassadors. This is one of the I would say, very impactful approach. Because use ambassadors usually are how we approach this. Yeah, we take use ambassadors usually from the communities, like small communities, young people who are the ambassadors of different programs, let's say. And the use ambassadors talk through their experiences, because we try to give them the experience and later on they become the use ambassador. While they're talking through their experiences and with their peers, with their community members, with their friends, it's much more impactful than any social media campaign we did, to be exact, yeah. Collaborating with schools and different stakeholders or students, locally can be, or regionally, or country-wise. Yes, like schools are also the place, the gatherings. Maybe they are on the age of, for some programs, on the age of 13 to 18, but these youngsters are also growing throughout the process, yeah, and they have family members and so on. So collaborating with schools and reaching out to young people through the schools can be one of the options as well for a visibility to give the information as many young people as it's possible.
Just to add to what Gvantsa said, the one thing that works very well in Latvia, it's lots and lots of WhatsApp groups where lots of young people are joining. For example, Erasmus Latvia WhatsApp group. It's like, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 people have joined in such WhatsApp group, and we send the information there to promote Erasmus, to promote local international projects, and it works like wonders, and it's super, super simple to do that. And if you don't have such group in maybe in your country, or you don't know about such group, it's always possible to create it, because lots of people use Telegram or WhatsApp to create such groups. And if it doesn't exist, it's all in your hands to make it happen, to be honest.
Thank you, Andra, for adding it. One more thing to talk about visibility as well. What worked for our cases in the different projects and the different youth initiatives worked this sharing authentic stories, sharing the stories um, from the young people by themselves as well, or the organization members as well. Using different testimonials to make it visuals and as a cards, let's say, yeah. Also, for example, like different meetings with our youth club members, with the schools, not as only the organizations going and meeting, but young people who are members of our organization organizing by themselves and going to schools and talking to peers and so on. And the last thing is invest in multilingual context and localize campaigns. So multilingual context, when we talk about the multilingual context, when we mean it takes a lot of resources, but it is very important, especially if you're working with the different minority groups. In Georgia, for example, we have in a municipality or a region we work, we have different minority groups. So for us, it's very important to translate the content to the language if we have some barriers in certain communities. It takes extra resources, but it is very important if we are talking about the inclusion of them throughout the processes, yeah. And if we talk about that, their voice matter, their young people, like this community and people matter, yeah. Here is the Menti. I wanted to ask one question. What is your go-to channels for learning about youth opportunities? If you know what is Menti, if you can also answer in the chat of the call, or you can go to the Menti, and in the Menti, there will be this question like, when you need to look for information, or when you need to look for a project or a youth initiative or funding, what is the platform you go to? Like, where you look for? If you can answer. And I will try to share the Menti screen itself. It's also the link and the code is in the chat as a first message. Or Andra, you can resend. Yes, Andra just send it. So you can write it like, what is that you use? Youth portal. Very nice. I will open the Menti so it will be visible in the recording as well. We have Youth portal. Anything else you use? Facebook, National Agency website, Salto use. If anything else. And friends, yes. Emails. Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. Like you mentioned, most of the platforms, which are international as well, where you can actually find the different programs and different opportunities for young people as well. Now, also, let's also talk about what are the opportunities in regards of the funding, and not only funding, as a participation as well. Maybe you also know those platforms, yeah? I will try to open the presentation again. Give me just a second. You can see the presentation, yes?
Yep, we can see everything.
So, resources and supports. If we talk about the resources and supports, there are different resources and supports we can look for throughout the process. One is the financial support. There are different Erasmus Plus, for example, Erasmus Plus program, European Solidarity Corps grants, yes, also exchanges, volunteering, innovation programs. There are another support way also can be the trainings, capacity building workshops, digital schools, skills courses, or different trainings offered by the different organizations, for example, about related to the innovations or related to the project writing or active citizen. There are many, not to mention. There is also another support resource which you can use as a support way is the mentoring. Mentoring works very well. The mentoring programs are some organizations have individually, like for example, us, we have a mentoring program locally. So we mentor young people for different directions, or we also have coaching program where we help young people to identify what they want to do, yeah, what are their goals as well. And they can be more involved, like can be experiencing, mentors can be as experiencing youth workers in youth centers, or maybe some community workers, or also can be some alumni who are working in organizations or members, yeah, or certain networks existing locally or sometimes even internationally, yeah. As well, there are different portals with different educational materials, which I think I can later on share it with Andra, where you can also already see different video training modules, tools, and so on, which you can use as well throughout the process while involving young people. Because sometimes we very much struggle when a lot of organizations struggle when we talk about youth involvement, especially from rural areas and different environments, yes? To move on, these are the certain links related to the funding, and different activities also can be mentioned. We have here volunteering activities, solidarity projects. We have also funding opportunities for young people, also Erasmus, which is like using action education trainings, yes, sport activities, and many, many of it. And also we have EYF grants, which also European Youth Foundation offers. And there is as well opportunity portal, which also gives you many deadlines for many different activities and many fundings, which you can go and look at it. I will try to show you few of them. So a little bit of maybe share with you so you have the brief idea how they work. Just give me just a second. How they work and how you can use them. Here. Okay. You see it, right? No, you see. Yes, you see. One, as I mentioned, it can be this portal, which is this European Commission webpage funding opportunities for young people, and you see here guidelines and all the informations you maybe necessarily need. Very important and very good support system these programs have is also related, for example, Erasmus is also related to the local national agencies. Usually the national agencies are very supportive for especially newcomers of youth groups in the process, because they suggest and support this process and people being more involved throughout the process. Yes, so you can also reach out to the national agencies and maybe ask them how the process goes, and they can support your local organizations as well. And if your local organizations, maybe many of you, I don't want to go deep on this because it may be that many of you already knows, as I mentioned, but maybe many of you don't. So I just briefly want to show you different platforms, so you have this idea of where it is and its familiarity, that okay, this is okay, where I can find it, different opportunities. Also the solidarity projects, and here is many more, also volunteering activities and so on. You can check it by yourself as well. It doesn't have very complicated application form. You can go and look at it and see, like, there are questions, then together with questions there is also very good explanatory questions which will help you guide through to write and fill the application forms. Yes, the Erasmus and all the key actions, and there is a detailed guideline, very huge it looks like, but if you're looking for a specific program, it's very concrete, very clear what you can do and how you can do. And there is also this opportunity kind of a page where you find the finding calls, different calls. These are some more what you already mentioned also in the Menti. As you mentioned in Menti, I suppose you also know what are those web pages. And now to move on for more focused on, yes, focused on the young people aspects. The first thing I wanted to talk about this involvement, and as I mentioned before as well, about the gap between non-formal and formal education. Yeah, so there is these educational types, and one is approaching the one aspect sometimes, and another one's another aspects. But there is actually, if we like work it together, we can make it the brilliant impact. Yeah, when we're talking about the funding as well, there is opportunities to collaborate under the certain fundings and make a processes that in a way that we build, like we fill these gaps and we make it lifelong learning processes for young people. It can be like it can help the young people like to develop the communication skills, leadership, civil responsibilities, digital competencies, or media literacy, and so on and so on. Yes, and it will help as well for more visibility throughout the process and organizations as well, and help them to understand, okay, how I can be involved, because if we collaborate, we can make presentations in schools and show about these funding opportunities for young people and so on, and involvement. If we talk about the like how we can school partner up with the organizations for a better, can be the debate clubs, it can be coding camps, for example. Like these are the examples we use and we practice in our organization. Active citizenship projects, or can be the educational projects, trainings, different trainings. Yes, there can be also project-based learning, studying or creating local projects, supporting by you grants, or can be also different grants. In this case, like we practice and we used the direction of like young people creating certain local projects related to environment, related to active citizenship, related to sport, yeah, related to certain areas. They wanted to build it up and make it more use-friendly, yeah, young people friendly. So this can be with the collaboration on schools together with the organizations as well, and works very well out of experience. Yes, also service learning, volunteering, recognized as part of the school curriculum for some countries. Not many countries, but for some countries it is. So it's also very helpful. Even if it's not out of the school hours, it can be with the agreement of the schools. For example, it's not recognized in the curriculum of Georgia, but we collaborate with schools and we encourage young people to be more active, to be more involved with the support of the different schools. Now let's to talk about about accessibility, making it easier. As we talked, even the programs and applications and platforms, yes, there is this opportunity. Yes, we talked about that maybe organizations knows. We also talked about it, how it can be difficult to navigate. Yes, it can be difficult to actually learn and understand, and it can take time, and you need maybe support, a mentor of or the experienced youth worker who can help you and support you throughout these processes. On top of that, sometimes we as organizations, for example, add certain applications, a lot of paperwork together with already the project applications we need to create, and there's certain other obligations we have, yes. Or we don't provide like very, very specific guidelines. It's very, very important why I wanted to highlight this when we talk about the young involvement and the supporting youth initiatives. It's very, very important that it is simple, a simple process, simple application form, with the very plain language, so young people can have access, based on what their interests for, yes, to be like very friendly, mobile friendly, mostly we say, because out of experience we saw that the mobile is the digital device which young people mostly use, so it should be mobile friendly platform, and to be like certain kind of one-stop portal, so they don't have this extra many paperwork extra things which is not very clear for them to, so for them to encourage them and make it easier for them to become part. And also tutorials work very well, step-by-step guidelines or tutorials, which can be short reels or short video, works very well for the encouragement of the young people, which gives like a specific what they need to do, like step by step. They watch it quickly. And nowadays, especially when AI is helping us and supporting us, it is pretty easy to do it and manage it and make it very catchy, let's say. Accessibility support system. When we also about this support system, to continue with the previous slide and talk about like how to support more. Yeah, can be sometimes it's hard for organizations to maintain the live chat, because can be that when we are small organization, we don't have this capacity. When I talk, sometimes people tell me, but we don't have this capacity to have this many people to do live chat, to do this, to do that. Yes, sometimes we as organization members, we are by ourselves, the accountants, the trainers, the mentors, yes, I don't know, youth workers, the cleaning ladies, everything together throughout the process. Sometimes we don't have, but it can be also that, for example, in our organization, when we understood that we don't have this many of human capacity, we had young people who were there and who wanted to volunteer and who were eager to be part of the different things and also have a responsibility. This was very interesting how they were describing them. We are responsible for certain things. It can be very, very small task. It can be shared by among several people, but during their volunteering period, they can be responsible and in charge. What we try to have like different people, but we also very much clearly say that, oh, look, it may be that you write us, but we cannot write it on directly, but we will try our best to connect you like as soon as we can. Yeah. Also, what helps very well with young people is the pair body support system. Yeah, so they pair up, they become each other's buddy, they encourage each other, they motivate each other, they help each other to be part of the different initiatives and so on. Language we already talked about. Then questions, also there can be certain list of previously asked questions, how they can be involved, and or you can make it online question session or face-to-face question session when they come, and it's an open door and they come and they ask questions what they are curious for. Yeah, about involvement or being active throughout the process. When we talk about involvement, there is also like and one aspect of the marginalized youth, who and why we should involve them. Sometimes there are stigmas which doesn't let them to be fully involved throughout different processes, or have the very few resources, or have less access of information, or sometimes even with the internet, or even with the mobile phone, or they are living in areas where it's not reachable, it's not near to the community center, and it's not walkable distance, let's say. Yeah, so like there can be this, we need to take it under out the consideration in our mind when we plan different activities, to think about like that we fully involve everybody, like everybody, each and every individual and each and every young people has access. Sometimes it takes much more work, but it is very important if we are talking about inclusion and in full involvement of young people, and yeah, at the end, accessibility. Removing barriers, when as we talked, yeah, like we already talked, what are the barriers, and the removing barriers, quickly to mention once more, is outreaching in marginalized communities, schools, community centers, social media groups, translate materials, invest in accessible formats, audio, easy reading materials, yes, flexible schedules and funding for special needs, travel, support worker, childcare. Sometimes when we talk about them, young parents or single parents, sometimes childcare is the one of the support we need to take it under the consideration. Yes, if we want to involve young parents or single parents in the processes, which is very important as well. Yeah, partnership with the grassroots local organizations or different funds or different stakeholders or municipalities as well throughout the process. Now, when we talk about the resources and the grants, can happen that some organizations know only, for example, us, when we started in the beginning, we had one type of funding, and we were very much focusing on this one type of funding. But then we realized that not every shoes or not every size fits all the people. So that not every this grant that was not fitting for all the youth initiatives we wanted to do. So we decided to let's look for more opportunities and let's look for more fundings. It can be because before it was like one international funding we were very much focused on when we were working on that area. But then we started to look around. We looked for a different international funds, EU support, different EU supports, EU programs as well, and the local programs. And also what we looked for the different approaches, not only fundings, but we started to understand that crowdfunding works very well as well. And a lot of youth initiatives we also did throughout the crowdfunding together with the different European fund support, yes, as a collaboration. So we try to merge and see how it can work together, and how many youth initiatives we can support, and young people projects we can support with the different funding. So it is important to look for different options. It can be micro granting, like easy, rapid funds for a small local projects. It can be thematic grants, like about environment, digital inclusion, personal development, I don't know, can be about different and many topics, and also it can be like long-term, more sustained grants. It can be 1, 2, 3 years long, yes, which can help youth group or youth organization to grow more and plan longer perspectives throughout the process. So not only stick to the one option, but look for a different options. Try to have a different options. Not only look, but try to apply, try to have a different options. Because it can help you for a different ideas you have or your young people have in the process. About encouraging innovation in creativity. When we're talking that involving young people, it's also to help them to think out of the box, let's say like this. So what is like very important to like support them. Sometimes it's enough to ask a question like, what do you like or what do you think? To make them involve or think about like what you're passionate about. We had the cases when we asked this to young people like, what do you like? And then we had the answer that nobody asked me this question before, so I don't know. It's very important to like ask young people. You can make a different approach. You can make an open call, or like we can make an open door program. Like for example, in our organization, young people can come. We have a day for sometimes in 2 weeks, sometimes in 1 week, depends on if we have a different calls open and so on, or sometimes once a month. Sometimes when they ask, and then they come to the open door day, and we sit and they talk about what they want to do. Like can be somebody wants to do something about with animals or street dogs, for example. Somebody wants to do something about the music, like sounds and music actions, like music projects or like a local project. Or sometimes we had one initiative generated during this open door meeting, which was the youth festival. And since that, it's already 5th year. Every year we are doing the youth festival in one of the local village in a village, and every year more and more people come, and it's become bigger and bigger. Yeah, so it's very important to like also have a techniques how to support their innovations. The techniques can be like different coaching questions, or can be different workshop you make to stimulate the creativity throughout the process, or help them to generate the ideas. It can be that they think something, and then how you can turn this thing or the idea into the actual project, into the actual use initiative. Yes, so it's also the process. So it's very important to have this space for young people, not only for us as an organization, but them to tell us. Actually, it will be best if it will be a biggest part of the youth organization. Yeah, so they come and they tell you what you want to do, and a lot of activities and processes are built around what they want to do, and also support them to do these initiatives by themselves, not you doing it for them. You can also make inside open call in your organizations for new ideas. If you have, sometimes what we do, if we know that there is a call open for funding, we make an inside call in the organization, and we ask young people, okay, look, now send your ideas to this call, and then later on, sometimes we have pitching. Then we ask them to pitch also their idea, and sometimes we just sit and discuss, and we choose what to apply, and we involve them to apply in these projects. One of like this project, which was created during inside call, was this youth center. The youth center, it's called Creative Room, this youth center, which was completely initiated by the young people. It was completely managed in the sense of crowdfunding, because in this youth center we combined crowdfunding and youth funding together, and young people were in charge by themselves. They wrote the project, they pitched the idea, they renovated the space, till now they're trying to do their own activities. They organize different events, movie nights, and so on. So it's totally in their management. We have youth worker, but it's fully in their management. It's in the village where is like 3,500 inhabitants live. So they manage it and even the neighboring villages coming to join their activities throughout the process. And believing young people that they are capable of, it's very, very important, because they are. Once you believe and once you give them the space. Yeah, and then once you give them the support they need, they are very much capable to start doing it from the idea, finishing with budget and reporting and all the follow-up activities and all the technicalities and so on. Yeah. As I mentioned also, there is this youth festival as well, which they organized by themselves. First year was the only year we supported them how to logically build, how technically build and how to manage. And since that, every year we just give them budgets. We help them to find a budget, or we give them budget, and they manage it by themselves. Planning with these decors, musics, the artists, the promotion, everything. They go with the small committees, and they manage it by themselves till the end. Also, when we talk about youth voices being heard and being involved in the processes, we also talk about youth participation throughout the decision-making process. Yeah, decision-making process can be in the local government, can be national level, can be in a community level. Yes. It is very important not only to support their youth initiatives and involve them and motivate them, but also help them use voices to be heard. And how we can do this, there can be different methods, because be heard and also make an influence on a certain decision makings or certain decision makers, yes, on the different scales. How it can be manageable, how we can make more young people being involved in the different processes can be that we create a joint national or European youth councils. It can be that we join local youth councils in a municipal level. If we don't want to go so international youth councils, we can start with the local and join local, then join for national youth councils, advisory groups, and advisory council, yeah, youth council, sorry, and be the one to make a change, to influence the decision-making processes, yeah, or advisory groups within the organizations or municipal level, yes. There are also the ones who can advise the different makers in certain topics related to the young people, and advocate that young people's voices to be heard. Participating in the consultation and service, the different service which are related to the certain decision makings, also to participate and make your voice heard even in there. It is very important, and here is one of the picture of our local youth council we run for in a local municipality, where they generate certain, let's say, advices and send it to the local authorities or the local groups and the ones who are making decisions throughout the different processes. Summary and key takeaways out of this webinar shortly, and later on I can answer your questions as well. One of the thing is the visibility matters when we are talking about sharing information where youth are, so that more young people are involved. Also, it is very important nowadays about the data protection, online visibility related to the faces and underage use, yes. So those are the details you also need to take it under the considerations, and it's very, very important if we are talking about the online visibilities using photos and different materials, yes. But it's important that we bring information. At the same time, it's important that we bring information to as many young people as possible. Accessible, user-friendly processes, open doors. This is one of the key, as I already mentioned, that everybody can be involved. it's create like they have a space to express, they have a space to co-create or create and manage the processes. Tailored resources, more grants, empower everyone. To look, not only to look, but to have a diversity, yeah? Like have a different ways of the fundings, like it can be micro and long-term perspectives. Inclusive outreach, ensure no one is left behind. Use voices, straighten every step. Yeah, yes, everyone has a role in the community, in a country, in the groups. Everyone has a community, everyone has a role, and everyone has the opportunity to make a change. It's very important that you get involved and you encourage your young people to get involved also throughout this process. Questions, I will open the space now for the questions, but before I will do that, I wanted to also like highlight to we as organizations to be the strong, as we as a youth organizations, we work a lot, like our audience, the all work we do is about young people, it's around young people, it's for them. So it's very important for us to understand that every step, it's like everything we do, it's very important that how we make the young people welcome in this process, yeah? How we make them feel that they matter in this process, and it's all about them. And what we do, it's all about them, and all about supporting them, helping them, motivating them throughout the process. Yes, it's very, very important for us to understand as the organization. So now if you have a questions, I can answer. I think I'm on time, Andra.
Yep, you are perfectly on time. Maybe you could share like what is the best thing that has worked for you regarding the topic of this webinar? Something like real life experience or something like this.
One thing actually, like what worked, you mean about regarding of funding? Maybe I can share one
About the
regarding of
funding. Yeah.
funding. I found it very, very interesting actually. Now with the new reality of, for example, if we talk about the Erasmus funding, in a sense of accreditation, KA1 accreditation, yeah. What I found it very interesting in this process that, as you know, certain youth organizations now can have the KA1 accreditation and certain budget throughout the year for a certain activities they can organize. For example, youth exchanges. Yes, youth exchanges are the activities which are totally run by young people, let's say, yeah, like it's planned, it's organized, it's evaluated, implemented throughout the young peoples from the different groups, different countries and the different groups. What I found it very interesting that this accreditation, it actually gave us the opportunity to do what? To collaborate with the different organizations who have the accreditation in the different countries, and not only, and we see that we all, like these organizations who we are collaborating, we have a common goal, yeah, like we found out that our organization's vision and mission are similar, and we have common values, and we work towards common values throughout the process. So we thought, like, why not to plan certain activities with a link to each other under our individual accreditation and make the one long joint project which will have separate actions in it. So me as, let's say, Latvian will manage this specific action under my accreditation. Me as Lithuanian organization, I manage, it's still under my accreditation, it's still under like addressed to the goals and objectives I have identified in my accreditation, yes, and the strategy. But still, we can still join and create a collaborative, longer scale projects, because and it's found for me. I found it very useful in a sense of having a longer goal in this sense, and also have more young people involved in this process. So you have an agenda, okay? You can come and it will help. It also helps young people to grow. You can tell like, oh, you can come for one activity, come as a participant, and later on you come as a leader. Later on you can create certain, like certain, let's say, workshops, yes, certain tools, certain methods. So they grow throughout this process, and I think it makes a very, very good impact in this reality now we are. This can be related to funding, and if we talk about related to the young people, uh, for me, the very impactful was we did one project called the Club of Innovators related to digital digicomp. Digicomp competencies, yes, developing the digicomp related competence. And in this project, it was a long-term project, and where they had this uh, trainings related to AI, related to digitalization, no coding, design, and all those things. And they learned throughout, and in the end, they had to present and co-create the projects related to solve the community problem, which you found it is very important to be solved, and solve the innovative way. So basically, these young people who never ever in their life, some of them, let's say, yes, some of the group they knew, but some of them never even heard about non-formal education. Then, like, they end up in this project in few months. They learned a lot of different things, and the group who then we had a competition, Ideaton, if you know, like a hackathon thing, but Ideaton, where they presented their projects, and the young group who has win this competition, they were the youngsters who never been in their life on any workshop or out of the school, nowhere. Basically, they have not been in trainings or workshops or camps or anywhere. So basically, the group who win was this group, and till now, like the later on, they try to the idea they have solved their community issue. Later on, they try to bring it to the local municipality, also share with the different organizations and stakeholders, and make it live. To actually make it happen. This project. So that was one of the inspiration in this last period I had, and it was amazing to see the transformation of these young people throughout the process, and how they started, and in the end how they end up.
Mhm. I completely agree. It's super nice to, at least from my side, I always try my best to involve young people who have never ever been to Erasmus projects or any project, and this is the first time, and to introduce them to non-formal education and how it can change your life. And then to see that from one project, the person is like, "Hey, I think I want to go to another one." I was like, "Oh, super nice." And then they like the third one's like, could I be the leader? I was like, yeah, of course, you can go to the next level. And then slowly, they come to the organization, they become part of the organization. And that's for me, at least, one of the best things that I can see in my work. That something that I have done and all the knowledge that I have given, it's making the person grow. And actually, in the end, it comes back to me again because they want to join, they want to do something, they want to be the change, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, thank you very much.